Believer. In today's video, I am doing my books to Munch in August. Yes, as always, it's halfway through the month because I don't know how I arrange these things. It just happens that way. So it's halfway through the month, so I'm going to tell you the books that I am reading right now and the books that I hope to read before the end of August. And I will be doing a Books I Munched this summer wrap up very soon, so that will be a recap review of all the books that I read in July and all the books that I'm going to read this month. So the first book that I am reading this month, one that I am so excited to read, is the second in a series that I absolutely fell in love with. My friend recommended it to me and gave me the first book to borrow, and I devoured it. And the whole time I was on the edge of my seat and I was just like, this is how a book is supposed to be written. And that was Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. And I'm now reading Wind Witch, which is the sequel to Truth Witch, and it basically continues on 2.5 weeks later from where the last book ended, which I really liked because when I first started reading this, because obviously this is the one I'm currently reading now, when I first started reading this I thought it was going to be months later, which would have been absolutely fine, but I love how actually it's been a very short amount of time since the last events and the new events, but this is what I'm talking about. She just keeps it coming and keeps the action flowing. You get it, like, this is where we left off and here we are 14 days later. It's amazing. So for those of you who haven't read Truth Witch, so you haven't started this amazing series, first of all, you need to start this amazing series. But let me tell you a little bit about Truth Witch. It follows the lives of two girls, Isolde and Safi, and I would say also of a prince called Prince Merrick. So those three are the three main characters, and basically Isolde and Safi are thread sisters, so it's in a world of powers and magic, but not everybody has powers and magics, and Isolde has the ability to see threads, so it's kind of like people's life threads as well as their emotions and all that stuff. She sees them in threads of color. It's amazing. I love her. Okay, Safi has the ability to tell whether somebody is lying, so that is why it's called Truth Witch. It's basically mainly about her life, but the others are very important. But yes, so it's she has the ability to tell when someone's lying, which is actually a very coveted gift for like people in the government and political empires and all that stuff. So when her gift is discovered, because it's been kept a secret, people decide that they want to use her, obviously. Of course, these two girls are rebellious, rambunctious girls with dreams of their own, so they also get themselves into little situations, and as their lives evolve and as the chases continue, they discover more about themselves as friends and about themselves on their own, and they end up tangled up with Prince Merrick, who has his own agenda and his own ambitions for his life and his country, and he's trying to create trades and routes and all these things to, you know, keep his empire going, and basically they all end up tangled together. It is really, really fantastic. The writing is superb, the speed, the pacing is amazing, and the interactions, the dialogue, I love it all. I really, 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 really like this series. The second book that I'm reading this month, I've just chosen really good books this month. I am so excited. So this is another one that I'm very excited to read. It is the first in a series because I like to do a continuation of a series and also dive into a new world. Now, this is by one of my favorite authors. It's a series that is like one of her most famous series, but for some reason I just never read it. I started with her Verity series, clue of who I'm talking about. Can you guess who I'm talking about? So I started with her Verity series, The Savage Song and The Dark Duet, I believe it's called, and then I went straight into A Darker Shade of Magic. But I kept hearing really, really great things about this series, so finally the other day I went to the bookstore and I picked up the first book in the series. I probably should have picked up all the books because I'm sure I'm going to like it, but let's see. Anyways, that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. So first of all, I'm loving the cover. If you can see, it's a bunch of bones. That is a hand stretching out from her name. I think that's a femur. That's a dagger. It's a really great cover, you know, you're just like, oh, black and white lines? No, darling, no, it's not black and white lines. It's bones and daggers. It's bones and daggers, and it's called Vicious. And I've seen so many things quoted from this book that I have to read it now just to know what everyone's referencing, and when people are like, oh, what's your favorite quote? I always get, no mourners, no funerals, may the odds be ever in your favor, and something from Vicious. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this. This sounds like a really fun read, and knowing V.E. Schwab's style, it's going to be captivating, grip my heart, and just be fantastic. So it's about two guys called Victor and Eli, and basically they are friends in college, and they are, you know, arrogant and ambitious, and they come up with a thesis that people under the right, you know, circumstances of duress could develop supernatural abilities, which, you know, in some cases actually has been proven, I would say, like, you know, moms picking up cars from children when they should not be able to lift that car and such and such and such. So basically, I guess something like that happens here, and they're like, I wonder if we could, you know, simulate these situations to make people, you know, tap into this ability. And so they go from actually just, you know, discussing it, and they end up actually trying experiments. From what I understand, they try experiments on multiple people, giving multiple people supernatural abilities, but also it says that things go horribly wrong. So I'm not entirely sure what happens there, of course, that's why you gotta read the book. But then it says that 10 years later, Victor, I believe? Yes, Victor breaks out of prison. So first of all, he was arrested. Why? Second of all, he breaks out. He's not released, he breaks out. And he's going after his friend, who is now an enemy, Eli. So they are the two that began this whole exciting experiment. So clearly something did go horribly wrong, and now one of them's in jail, and now he's broken out of jail and is hunting down the one he began this experiment with. And Eli, in the meantime, is trying to get rid of all the supernatural people that he can find. So it seems that they did infect a lot of people with whatever they did, and so he is trying to erase what they did, whereas Victor wound up in jail. And now they're on, you know, a journey of revenge, and each one of them has a beautiful sidekick, you know, fierce, witty women. So it sounds like a very fun, supernatural, superpower read. And the third and final book I'm reading this month is my indie pick of the month. Woo! And that is Fallen Angel by J.L. Myers. So the first book in Fallen Angel, which is called Ashes of Eden. I have had this book on my shelf, my Kindle shelf, for a very, very, very long time, so I'm very excited to finally be getting to it. She's another author that I sometimes interact with. We do newsletter swaps and support each other and all that stuff, so it's really exciting to finally be able to read one of her works. It is the story of Lucifer and basically how he falls from grace. So it says that Lucifer used to be the brightest archangel of them all until he fell in love. So from what I gather from the blurb, basically Lucifer is sent down to earth, as are many of the angels, and their light is turned to flesh, and you know, they're there to watch over the happenings on earth. And basically Lucifer then, being not mortal, but you know, being of human, sees Gabriel, his affection, his desire, in the flesh, because you know, he's just seen her as the light up in heaven. But when he sees her in the flesh, of course he starts to get fleshly urges, and he finds himself drawn to her, but of course that is not allowed. They are not to give in to any of their vices on earth. They are supposed to be archangels, and so by falling in love with Gabriel, he is jeopardizing his chances to go back and up into heaven. And those are all the delicious books that I am hoping to get through in August. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure if I can get through the next two in the amount of time that I have left, but I'm hoping to, or worst case, I'll just be cramming it in and then giving you my review a little bit later on. Do you have a reading list for this month? What are you reading? What have you read? Have you read any of the books that I am reading, and what did you think? Without spoilers, do let me know in the comments. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like all my other videos, then please subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you. Bye!